For more than 70 days now, we have had a situation where 8 of India's former Navy personnel, commanders and sailors included, have been in custody in Qatar. What is going on? I'm Barkha, you're with the Mojo Story. Our big focus today is on the mystery detention of former Navy personnel, 8 of them, all employed with the same technologies company in Doha, in Qatar. In fact, the managing director of this company has also been felicitated with the Pravasi Bharat Samman in 2019. The foreign ministry has now gone public. The Indian embassy in Doha is working overtime, but you can imagine that distraught families are now taking to social media to appeal for some sort of justice and early release. Reports suggest that these men are in fact in solitary confinement, as I said, for more than 70 days. The details are hazy. Remember, these are countries that aren't democracies. They aren't open societies. And so it's very, very tough to piece together exactly what's happening. Qatar was not a country with which India had a fraught or a tense relationship, though Indians have been taken into custody earlier and then released. But remember, this is our defense personnel that we are talking about. And their desperate families have now had to turn to social media to try and secure the release of their loved ones. Very few people are, in a way, open enough to talk about this because, as I said, the details are hazy and they're difficult, but it's an important conversation and one that we must have. These are men who have served in the line of duty for the nation, and voices for their release must be raised. Joining us on the program today is Commander Singh. Let's introduce him. Commander J.G. Singh is, of course, a defense strategist and a veteran, military veteran. Also joining us is senior journalist and an independent editor, Padma Sundarji, with decades of experience, especially tracking diplomacy and geopolitics. Good to see you, Padma. And also joining us is veteran diplomat, Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar. As I said, the details are hazy, but I must first get the military perspective in. The community must be upset. The community must be anxious. So, Commander Singh, I'll start with you. Your thoughts about what we know so far.
Barkha, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I would straight away, accuse or suspect the role played by their former, CEO group of this what's called the other global technologies, Scotland Khami Al-Ajmi, who is a retired Royal Air Force, Oman Air Force. So it seems that he's the one who has probably been influenced by in my opinion, by the ISI of Pakistan, because I must tell you, with my vast experience of having visited the Middle East in my various travel, when I was doing travel agencies there, going to Egypt, Jordan, Iran, Iraq, Oman, for that matter, Qatar, Israel, I know that the ISI keeps a very close watch on all officers who serve in the Middle East. So probably, in my opinion, it is the Pakistan ISI who has influenced squadron leader Khami Al-Ajmi on Islamic net, because we had seen that in the recent past, Qatar was not very happy with the kind of statements which were given by some of our ruling party leaders, and they were quite irritated about it. And probably the Pakistan ISI has cashed upon that and influenced that person, Al-Ajmi, who is the CEO, and he has probably triggered this whole controversy.
And to make matters more, so just to interject briefly for the perspective of our audience, we're talking about a global technology company called Dahara Technologies. This was owned, as you said, by an Omani former Air Force officer. There's the company. Since this has happened, by the way, their website has gone into a mysterious update saying website under maintenance. So this is all This is what it says now. So this is all very strange and very murky. And this company was providing services to the Qatari Navy, but it was owned. It was a private company owned, as you mentioned, Commander Singh, by a former Air Force officer of Oman, who you now believe has been manipulated or pressured or purchased or we don't know what. But somewhere you see the role of the ISI. Am I summarizing this correctly, Commander Singh?
Absolutely, because there is a parallel to it. We have heard about our Navy commander Galbhushan, who is in Pakistan custody or with the Pakistani jails. He was picked up from Iran, and that we all know was that port. And he was also working there. And this particular place from where he was picked up was not very far from the Pakistan-Iranian border. It was just about 130 to 40 kilometers. And for ISI to go and reach there and, bodily pick him up and bring him into Pakistan was a matter of just 3 to 4 hours. And he was picked up, as we learned, at about 4 o'clock in the morning. And he was also absolutely innocent. So I draw a parallel of this particular problem with that, because, as I said earlier, ISI is extremely active in the Middle East in particular.
Okay, let's open this up. Commander Singh sees the imprint of the ISI draws a parallel with the Kulbhushan Jadhav case, where Mr. Jadhav, of course, is in custody in Pakistan. Ambassador Sajjanhar, we are now seeing the MEA, the Foreign Ministry, speaking in public. But of course, this is a delicate issue. The priority will be to get these men released. No diplomat is going to make a sort of noise, an aggressive noise in public, when the back channel is much more important at this point. What do you make of what's happened?
No, absolutely. What you have mentioned is that these men have been in Qatari custody for the last 70 days. Now, according to the Vienna Convention, when an individual, a citizen of a different nationality, is caught and put behind bars, then within a very short, finite period of time, the officials are required to inform the embassy. Now, according to the reports that we have seen in the press, it was much later, meaning I look at the parallel also with the Kulbhushan Jadhav, Commander Kulbhushan Jadhav, there it was after several months that, our High Commission in Islamabad was informed about it. Here also, it has not been that long a period, but it has been after much, in my view, much after the due period during which our embassy should have been informed. They were not informed. They have had two consular accesses to these officials, and now they have, both the embassy and the Ministry of External Affairs, they have gone into overdrive. As you said very correctly, Barkha, there it is, the whole case sounds very murky, hazy. There is, no accurate information available as far as this case is concerned. Now, as far as what Commander G.J. Singh says, I have no evidence. I have not read anything which would either, completely substantiate what he says, or in fact, deny what his contention is. So it could be very well the case that ISI is active. But I'll put one, qualifier there, because I have been several times to Oman and have spoken to a large number of people. Our relations with Qatar might not be as warm as they could be, or we would like them to be, but our relations with Oman are extremely warm. And you would recall that when the Emir of Oman had died, then we had declared a one-day national holiday in India. This is not something that we do for all types of world leaders. Also,
May I ask you a
there is
question,
a
Ambassador? Sir, may I
yes,
ask you a
sure,
question? You
sure,
say
sure.
that, to Commander Singh's working theory, that somewhere this will link back with the ISI. We don't, at least in the public domain, have enough accurate information. Commander Singh is obviously applying his mind as a strategic expert here and joining the dots. My worry is this: both of you have drawn parallels with Mr. Jadhav, Kulbhushan Jadhav's custody. You could see something similar, God forbid, happening here, where there is a sudden declaration by the Qataris, that some law has been violated, or some other sort of activity is illegal, much the same way that Kulbhushan Jadhav was made out to be a criminal, right?
No, I
And
don't.
then
No.
that ties our hands. Then I hope this doesn't happen, because we've seen no public articulation from the Qataris at all, Ambassador.
Yeah, no, I think this relation, this connection or parallel, in my view, is very tenuous because, okay, fine, Kulbhushan Jadhav has been taken. This was from across the border from Pakistan. Here it is in a different country. You can't equate Qatar with Pakistan. Qatar, after all, has good relations. We are importers of large quantities of gas from there. We are importers of large quantities of fertilizer from there. So, I don't think we can, I think it would be rather rash and unjustified to equate Qatar with
Okay,
Pakistan.
let me bring in Padma here, because these are two very differing perspectives. Our military officer believes that this has got ISI written all over it. The ambassador trained equally in his scale, which is to de-escalate crisis. Both men are actually speaking to their training, and that is what is appreciable here. The diplomat is speaking to de-escalation. The military officer is speaking straight on the offensive, saying this is the ISI. Padma, you've studied this space for years. What is your smell test, as it's called in newsrooms, telling?
I'll strike the middle path between the commander and Ambassador Sajjanhar. Please note, we're talking about Qatar. There is going to be the FIFA World Cup in a couple of weeks from now, which is being held in Qatar. Now, please also note that Pakistan, it is very much Pakistan that signed the memorandum of understanding just a week ago to provide security to the games, including maritime security by Pakistan's Navy, to the FIFA World Cup in Qatari waters and beyond. So this could well be an orchestrated campaign by the Pakistanis to ensure the removal of, even former Indian Navy officers from the area, even though they're working for a private company. Because after all, these gentlemen, their job was to reportedly train the Qatari Navy. So the Pakistanis may perhaps be wanting to ensure, to sort of absolutely no interference. There's just one more point I'd like to make, Barkha. The Qatari media, and this is also seems to be a story that has been spread by maybe some Pakistani media themselves, that they are reporting that the Indian naval officers were spying for Israel. And I'll tell you why this particular angle is completely ludicrous. Because Israel, I mean, in any case, we all know, has one of the most superior secret services in the world. If there is anyone who can teach the rest of the world a thing or two, it is Israel. But apart from that, despite our excellence, I don't think Israel would want to rely or would need to rely in Middle Eastern waters and Gulf waters on any third party for its own surveillance. Most importantly, please don't forget, Israel's sworn enemy, Iran, shares an excellent relationship with Qatar. The two countries own and operate the world's largest gas reserves. So if anything, Israel would already have established espionage
But
mechanisms.
I'm glad
Just
you.
one,
It's a
just
question to you only, just on the point you made. Just a
yeah,
brief
yeah,
interjection.
yeah.
When you say these ludicrous claims being made by Qatari or Pakistani media, we don't know, of espionage for Israel, ludicrous, ridiculous, of course, but exactly what I was worried about when Commander Singh spoke about the parallels to Kulbhushan Jadhav. You're right. This is how you muddy the waters. But I'll just
Exactly.
let you
And
complete the
just,
point. Yeah.
yeah, so I just want to say that if anything, given its standoff with Iran, which is a close ally of Qatar, if anything, Israel would have already established or put espionage boots firmly on the ground across that part of the Gulf as elsewhere. And also, let's not forget, Israel has trade ties with Qatar since 1996. It's a minor point, and it's not directly related to what we're saying, but it was the first state to do so. And diplomatic relations between the two have seen ups and downs, but Qatar has now said that it's going to allow Israel Israelis to fly to Qatar for the forthcoming World Cup. Israel is even
Yeah.
opening a temporary office in Qatar to facilitate FIFA World Cup visitors, and there are going to be direct flights between the two. So it is overall a ludicrous, this Israel theory is a ludicrous theory, and
Absolutely.
I tend to see Pakistan's role also in it.
Okay. Commander Singh, I let you come in. Both you and Padma see the ISI imprint. The ambassador is saying, hold on, be cautious. I want you to come in. I am extremely concerned as an Indian about these waters getting muddied, right? And of course, we all think it's ludicrous. Of course, we all recognize these men to have been those who served in the line of duty, as I said. But, I think Padma's point about Pakistan and the contract for the FIFA World Cup security is a very, very important one. Commander.
You see, first of all, I want to clarify something, absolutely differentiate between the two. Oman government has got good relations with the Indian government. But this particular officer, who is the group CEO, squadron leader Khami Al-Ajmi, is a retired Royal Omani Air Force, Oman Air Force. He has nothing to do with the government. So he's also working like what our naval officers are doing there. So therefore, I would say that this particular officer has been individually influenced. It is not question of government does not come, because I know that the Oman coastal areas, all of its survey has been done with the help of the Indian Hydrographic Office. That we have it here in India, because I myself is a specialist in hydrography. I know our officers have been employed by various countries in this regarding survey or any naval operation or training, because this particular area, Middle East, is paying very good wages to our retired, whether they are Navy, Air Force, or Army officers, and they get our officers also give the best to them. So therefore, I would say that I will again come to my point again, that it is totally orchestrated by the ISI, because I know Mossad very well, because I have been to Israel at least about 15 to 16 times myself, and I know about that country pretty well, being myself a student of the Jewish history and Judaism. And I would say that Mossad doesn't need our officers for any espionage. They are very efficient. They can do everything on their own, as Madam has said. They don't need us. They are too good in their own field, in every field, I would say. So I would say that,
The worry, sir, and let me take this to the ambassador. Ambassador, you're not convinced. Both Padma and Commander Singh making the point that why else? Why else? You tell me. Would I beg your pardon, 8 men, including officials, sailors, decorated men, be in detention without our embassy being able to get them out if this was just a minor misunderstanding? It's been long enough. You say it hasn't been too long. It's been more than 70 days, sir, and counting.
Actually, Barkha, I said it's very long. Please don't misunderstand me. I said it's very long.
No. You said it's not long, not wrong. You said it hasn't been a long time, and I said it's been more than 70 days.
On the contrary.
Yes.
But Barkha, on the contrary, I said that it was a long time,
and
that the Qatari authorities had not contacted. So that is a matter for worry. I never said that it has not been a long time. And the other point is also, I'm not dismissing the role of the ISI. The ISI could very well be involved. And of course, I think that should be the first issue that we should deal with. But what I'm saying is, at the moment, we don't have information. I do not have, again, the slightest
I think we just lost you there. Padma, let me ask you to just jump in and talk about what you think the foreign ministry should do next. It's been very cautious, and I understand that. Its focus has to be on securing the release of these personnel.
I think our foreign ministry is going to follow pretty much the same path as it did with Kulbhushan Yadav. These matters tend to be, as you rightly point out, extremely sensitive. And, I don't imagine that being imprisoned in Qatar would be perhaps as risky for an Indian officer as it was indeed in the case of Mr. Yadav. But I do believe that caution. We've always tread cautiously, and we will continue to tread cautiously. There's just one more thing, to add to this, to reinforce why I think Pakistan is certainly behind it, is also that there is this Twitter sort of full of Pakistani theorists, talking about, see, this is a proof that India is involved in international terrorism. Now, I mean, given its own established reputation as a hotbed of terrorist activity, I think Pakistan is also trying to sully the ground for India in the international arena, even as India's importance grows. So there is
I mean,
certainly a Pakistan.
it's astonishing that Pakistan's ISI has the time for this, given what's happening in its own country with Imran Khan. But Ambassador, you're back with us. I'm going to let you complete your point. What should the foreign ministry be doing right now, Ambassador?
Thank you very much, Barkha. What I was saying is that I do not have the slightest doubt, because the Government of India and the Ministry of External Affairs takes the welfare of its citizens very, very seriously. Although, one point I'd like to make, because this gentleman, the leader of the group in Qatar, he was given,
An award. An
an
award.
award. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Pravasi Bharat Saman. Yes.
yeah, the Pravasi Bharatiya,
There he
which
is.
is
Yes.
normally given to those who have, who are living in other countries, and they have assumed the nationality. They have taken the nationality of the other country. Normally, it is not given to Indian passport holders, Indian citizens. Normally, I'm saying. So I don't know what would be the nationality of the leader of this group and the others. But that notwithstanding, whether they are any other citizen of any other country or India, I think India has been very, very firm that the safety, security, and welfare of our people will be fully safeguarded. And this is the message that has gone out loud and clear to our embassies, that they should do everything that is possible. So what I was saying is, I don't, have the slightest doubt that the government is working overtime to get to the bottom of this, and hopefully within a day or two, we should, or very soon, we should have something positive and also more details of the case. That having been said, I definitely will not deny the role of the ISI, because ISI will try to invent, cases and allegations and accusations where
Exactly, and
none
that is
exist.
the and
So,
that is the
so
and
that
that
is
is the anxiety. That is the exact anxiety
exactly, exactly.
that the muddying of the waters, as they've been calling it. Got to close. 30 seconds each to both Commander Singh and Padma. Padma, I'll start with you. Give the commander the last word. Padma, go ahead.
I mean, I would add to what Ambassador said, is who else but the ISI, could possibly, and that too, this is in a Muslim majority country, wherever it may be, would possibly be the likeliest opportunity, or the best opportunity for the ISI to try and sully India's reputation. It's not that easy to do so. Let's say, I don't know, in the United States or in Latin America or in any other country, perhaps, but certainly in the Gulf and in the Middle East and in countries where which are Muslim majority states, the ISI will try everything it can, every trick in the book.
Yep. Commander Singh, the military, the greatest thing about the military is that it remains a tight-knit community. They say a soldier never stops being a soldier, a sailor never stops being a sailor. At this point, sir, the families are desperate, but they also need a certain amount of, and I'm sure the government is doing it, a kind of calming down in the back channels, because you don't want a very public sort of articulation of this very delicate situation. The focus has to be to bring these men to safety. Your last thoughts, sir?
You're absolutely right, Barkha. Government is doing its best, and I wish them all the best in this endeavor. But I'm a little worried about it, because knowing the nature of the Arab world is that you first of all cannot win them in argument. What they have said, if the Qatar intelligence agency is convinced that they were involved in espionage, then in my view, it will be a very difficult challenge. It will be a huge challenge for our diplomacy to get their release. Otherwise, as far as Pakistan is concerned, they will do their best to take this case the same way as they have taken the
Okay.
command of Kalbhushan.
Great situation.
for
Padma, you wanted to jump in before I close? Yeah, Padma, can you
Very,
unmute?
very quick,
Yeah.
very quickly. I think what I'd like to point out is the Qatar authorities have not responded to any kind of reports in the media. They've simply not said anything, and that also strikes me as being odd. I mean, if they had a very convincing case of espionage, I think they would be well within their rights to come out with it and with the evidence as well. But the fact that they've remained silent really points to some kind of backroom management happening on part of the ISI and certainly the Pakistan Navy.
Worrying situation, and one of course has to expect that there is an equal amount of if not more pushback happening by India at the back channel level, channeling the sort of relationship that Oman, India, Qatar at this point enjoy and building on that. We leave it there, but we'll continue to track what happens in this case. Commander Singh, Ambassador Sajjanhar, Padma Rao, pleasure as always, and we hope very much that these men, former Navy personnel, are released soon and reunited with their families. To our audience, thank you for watching. See you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.